So one day I was just driving and I drove in here. And I thought, I'll see what it's all about. And I've been here ever since and I love it.
Overall, this place is great.
I joined 40 years ago. I'll be 80 soon.
I'm really impressed with this place.
I always consider us to be like Cheers.
Everybody around here watches and cares for you.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
We're very, very lucky to have this place and Karen to keep it open for us.
There's good people that work here. There's good people that work out here.
I just don't know what this place don't have.
It's quite unique to have this in the size of Great Bend.
Well, these are your friends, true friends.
I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Do you want the whole story?
I'm Karen Zager, formerly Karen Casey. My father, Martin J. Casey, started this facility back in 1974. When it first opened, it opened as Spa Health Club. Then in 1977, he added the tennis courts and the racquetball courts and changed the name to Town and Country Racket Club. We continued through that through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Fitness actually wasn't even popular till the early 90s. My father passed away in 1998. My brother and I and my mother ran the club up till 2008, and that's when I purchased the facility from my siblings and changed the name to Club One Fitness. Since that time, we have done quite a bit of remodeling. We've redone both the locker rooms, men's and women's. We've added new equipment. We replastered the pool, put a new deck back there, redid the tennis building. So we've been moving along to make it a more modern facility. Back when my father started this business, mom and pop businesses were in abundance. Sorry to say, that's not the case nowadays. I want everybody to know who Martin Casey was. He always took very good care of himself, and so it's sad that he got cancer and passed on. My dad, Martin, was an Irish immigrant. When we were cleaning out the house after he had passed away, I found his old lunch pail. And I found in there letters from back in 1946 that he was writing a gentleman over here in the United States, Charles Atlas. He was a big fitness guru back in the 40s. He gave my dad lessons, how to do workouts and this and that. So apparently my dad had a true passion for this business way back when he was a young man. This man loved the United States. He always called Kansas his home and had a great passion for this community here. He absolutely loved what Mid-America stood for. A lot of Irish people were coming over to the United States during that time. Him and his brother came together. At that time, you had to have a sponsor in order to come over to the United States. My mother's father sponsored him. It was always a big joke in the family that Dad had to pay back my grandpa by marrying my mother. How he had a vision of that magnitude back in the 70s is just phenomenal. It just wasn't heard of. I've tried to do some research about when there was clubs started opening, because back in the 70s, really exercise was not popular. I don't know if he just started doing some research and found a building, found out that the Dominican Sisters were going to sell this facility, and then just decided to His brother back east helped him out. They both kind of partnered together, came up with this idea of making a health club. He didn't actually work here till 1987. He had different managers throughout the years, and because he ran Casey's Office Equipment. Then I think he finally just decided he wanted to do one business, and since this was his true love, he came out here and started managing the club himself. They built this in 1962, and they had a college over at the convent. Plus, they had quite a few Dominican sisters living there, 200 or 300 of them living there. And so this was a facility they could come to get their exercise. All it was one huge building. In the pool area, there's some, it's a wooden ceiling, it's a tongue and groove. That continued over into this area here until we put a false ceiling in there. Underneath all of the carpet or the rubber mats is a wooden basketball floor, shuffleboard, things like that. So this is what they did over here. We've always, from day one, had the main gym and the equipment out there. When we started classes like aerobics and toning classes and things like that, they were actually out in the gym area in front, right out here. When we first opened, we were a family facility and you could come anytime. However, like I can't remember the actual schedule, but like on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, the women had the main gym and the men couldn't be in there, and then the women, and they had the bigger locker room, and then the opposite days, the men came. Basically, men and women came on separate days. The aerobics got so big, it was just too big for the gym area, so they moved it to the free weight room. Then in 1977, that's when Dad put the 3 indoor tennis courts and the 4 racquetball courts, because tennis wasn't as huge as racquetball. Racquetball was just, courts were busy all the time. The aerobics room outgrew free weight room, and we took over a tennis court #1, and they had we put the flooring out there and the carpet, and they had their classes out there. And I believe it was in 1985 we built the fitness studio. That's where it currently is now. Racquetball kind of wasn't popular anymore, so we did keep 2 of the racquetball courts because we do have quite a few men that still like to play. One of the courts we turned into a group cycling studio. Cycling is very big. And then on the other end, we put a yoga studio in there. Everybody likes to take care of their mind and their spirit, so yoga is very popular. Another huge area that has formed is personal training. And they really keep you accountable for yourself. Yeah, back in the 70s, I mean, we were busy, but we struggled till the early 90s. Fitness, like I said, just wasn't real popular. I don't know why. We have our regulars, and some of those are still here today, that have always taken their health into their own hands. Back in the early 90s is when it started becoming popular, and it has just grown since then. The people actually make appointments with themselves, and they make the time to take care of themselves and work out. And I even see the generations coming forward, like kids in high school, college, they are machines about working out. They are very, very dedicated to taking care of themselves. When you work out, it releases happy endorphins. You're more at peace with yourself. We're one big happy family here. So not only are you feeding your health and your fitness, you're feeding your mind and your soul. The staff here truly has a passion for helping people. You grow as an individual. Like our seniors, they could be just sitting home, they've lost a spouse, they come out here and they meet new friends, they come out of their shells, they blossom. I'd like to thank Great Bend, Barton County, all you wonderful people who have stuck with us through the years. And I know some things you didn't like we've changed or done, and you kept on going, and I just want you to know I love you all. You guys are all characters.
I think the coolest thing to me is this has been family owned and been a family business for 40 years. That's just something you don't hear about anymore.
Happy 40th anniversary, Club One Fitness.
We're lucky to have guys like Chris here that come back to the community and get involved in the club here. It helps Karen a lot, I think, and it's good for the membership too to see the younger blood. I'm not the future of this place; they're the future.
Happy 40th anniversary.
1, 2, 3.
Happy 40th anniversary.
I was laying in bed and I was smoking, and my heart was thumping. I thought, oh, I'm 40 years old. I'm too young to die. So I joined this, and it stopped thumping.
I had way too large a farming operation back in '74, and about the time when Martin Casey started the club here, I was over my head and work, getting tired, and body was kind of falling apart, and so they had an open house during the first year, and I came in, and it was mind-boggling to see the machines back here and everything, which I had never. I came in, I got down on my knees in front of her, and I said, I want to join. I don't know how I'll pay for the dues, and so I became a charter member.